I'm Brenda, and welcome to Digging Deeper with the North Carolina State Extension Master Gardener Volunteers of Chatham County. And today we're going to talk about watering. All plants need water, but have you ever wondered the best way to water your plants so that they thrive? The first thing you need to do is determine whether or not your plants actually need water. So you should take your finger and stick it down into the soil 1 to 2 inches to see if you feel moisture. And if you feel moisture, your plants don't need water. If you water them when they don't need water, you can actually cause the roots to rot. But if you don't feel any moisture down on your finger, then it's time to water your plants. How much water your plants need is highly variable. Some plants like to have moist soil all the time, and some plants like to dry out in between waterings. And that's when it's best to know what your plant needs and put them in the correct type of soil. But in general, plants in raised beds and in pots will need water before plants in the ground, and plants in sandy soil will need watered more than plants in clay soil. Plants need about 1 inch of water a week. And if they get it from rain, that's great. But if you need to water them, there's some techniques that can help you water your plants. If your plants are in pots, you should water them until water comes out the bottom of the pot. If your soil is dry and you pour water quickly onto the soil, it'll just run right out the bottom without really wetting the soil. Plants like long, slow drinks. So you want to water your pot slowly. To let the soil absorb the moisture. You should check to see if your pot has gotten heavier. And another thing you can do is if your pot has a tray, or if your pot is light enough to move to a tray, put water in the tray and let it sit there, and it will wick up the water into the soil. This pot's been setting for about 5 minutes, and when we filled it up, the water was all the way up to the brim. And now it is halfway down from where the pot is wicking up the water. And when I stick my finger down in the pot, it's moist all the way down now. If your plants are in the ground and you water them quickly on dry soil, the water will just sheet right off and it won't go down to the roots of the plants where the plants actually need the water. A good way to water is to water at the base of the plants. Slow and slow. And you only want to water them maybe once or twice a week when they're in the ground, because you want the roots of the plants to grow down or deep into the soil. And if you water them too often, they'll stay shallow. But if you only water them once or twice a week, it teaches them to grow deep down into the soil, and that makes them more drought tolerant. So good ways to water your plants are to use soaker or drip hoses, to use watering hoses, or to use watering cans. When you want to water at the base of the plants where the water is going where the plants actually need it. If you use a sprinkler system, it can cause some problems because there are some plant diseases that will overwinter in the soil, like early tomato blight. When you use sprinklers, it hits the soil and it will make spores of the disease splash up onto the leaves of the plants, causing disease in your plants. A good time to water is in the morning to allow your plants to become turgid before the heat of the day. And turgid just means making your plants swell up with water. It also helps with evaporation. If you water during the heat of the day, a lot of the water that you're putting out actually gets lost to evaporation, and your plants don't get the water they need. So once you finish watering, you want to test again. Stick your finger down in the soil, and if it's not moist all the way down your finger, you need to keep watering. If it is moist, you're done. So we'll pull this back and you can see how it's still dry. You've got moist soil and you've got dry soil. So this would need more water. You want to keep watering until the soil is moist, but it's not waterlogged. You don't want standing water in your soil. You just want to be able to feel moisture all the way down with your finger. If you don't know what kind of watering needs your plants have, you can check in the plant toolbox to look up the watering needs for your plants. I'm Brenda, and I hope you join me next time on Digging Deeper. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, and you'll be notified whenever a new video is posted.